Welcome to this edition of What If? The hard-hitting YouTube series that dares to ask the question, are all of the online experts just idiots? I have made a few of this type of video in recent weeks, and apparently some people do not like when I make this kind of video. They don't like the videos so much that not only do they keep watching all of my videos, but they often go on to leave stupid comments complaining that I'm doing it wrong, or they proclaim that if I had a license, I would already know what would happen. They claim that these myths that I talk about that we've all heard don't exist, or they say that I should stop making these videos altogether because doing the things that I have done in my videos are far too dangerous for anyone to try that doesn't have a hams radio's license. So if the thought of other people doing experiments on radio equipment and leering things makes you sad, or if watching someone leer how things work is a threat to your ego, or if people openly sharing information on YouTube makes you angry and compels you to make a fool of yourself in the comments, then please, I beg of you, please keep leaving your socially impeded comments on my videos, because all of that engagement with my videos really helps my channel with the YouTube algorithm. And without all of those stupid comments, my channel would not be near as popular as it is today. And just to be clear, I am not, nor have I ever claimed that the tests I have done or am about to do are scientific tests, and I am not using any fancy, expensive scientific equipment. Nay, I am just a simple YouTube hobo doing these things, risking my life and sacrificing my radios in the name of science and leering, just to see what will happen. Basically, I do these things so that you don't have to. Anyway, in this episode, we are going to find out what really happens when you pin someone's coax. For those of you that are not radio dorks, the lore of pinning someone's coax goes way back to the golden era of the CB radio days. Back in those days, if some jackwad was jamming a CB radio channel or otherwise being a nuisance, the local self-appointed CB radio SWAT team would sneak into his backyard in the middle of the night and quietly insert a small nail or thumbtack through the coax that connects the radio to his antenna. The story goes that the very next time he keys up his radio to transmit, the radio would emit magic smoke, and the issue of him being a jackwad on the radio would resolve itself. So in this video, I am going to see what will actually happen if your coax gets pinned, and I'm going to do it in a very precise and very scientific way and in a controlled environment with very fancy and expensive scientific equipment. Unfortunately, though, since CB radio has been dead for years and nobody uses it anymore, and because I have no antique CB radios lying around, for this very scientific leering experiment, I will be using a brand new Wuxen Ocean KG-XS20G GMRS radio. I have set the talk timer on the radio as high as it will go. I think it's at about 900 seconds, so it will not unexpectedly or automatically stop transmitting after a few minutes. I have set the power output to high, and of course, I have enabled the Roger beep. The radio is connected to this small Midland GMRS antenna on this NMO base using this coax, but I will be inserting the test pin into this short bit of coax, which is in line with the antenna. So we're going from the radio into my Farzometer 2000 into the aforementioned large coax, which in turn is connected to the smaller coax via the smaller wire, which then runs to the antenna. This short length of high-quality Messi and Poloni coax is thicker than the rest of the coax, and it more closely represents the type of coax that a CB radio or GMRS radio base station would be using when connected to a large antenna on the roof. To monitor the health of the radio, I will be using my Predator Vision camera to watch for any temperature spikes in either the radio or the coax. And my Farzometer 2000 is also connected so that we can monitor both the SWR of the antenna and the power output of the radio in real time, simultaneously, throughout the entire Leering experiment. I have already done a quick test of transmitting on the radio for several minutes with no pin in the coax so that we can get a baseline of both the power output of the radio and the temperature after transmitting for several minutes. And as you can see on this earlier recorded footage, after transmitting on the radio for 5 minutes, the power output was 16 watts and the temperature of the radio did not exceed 35 degrees Celsius, which for all of you real Americans means that it was barely even warm to the touch. And now for the moment you've been waiting for. I will now insert the pin into the coax and see what happens. Will this instantly destroy the radio as foretold in the legend, or will nothing happen? Please take a moment to pause the video now and leave your prediction in the comments so that the YouTube algorithm treats me right. I personally have no idea what's going to happen. As a young radio dork that grew up during the CB radio golden era, I was brought up on this legend and I believed it my entire life. But as I have grown older and much wiser, I have learned to never trust radio dorks telling stories. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Anyway, the coax is now pinned, as you can see, and I shall now engage the pole to talk trigger and observe what happens. And as you can see, nothing happened. The SWR was near perfect and the power output never changed. And I'm thinking that that is because for anything to happen, you have to get the pin in there just right, which for someone in the middle of the night sneaking into someone's backyard and not getting caught would likely be difficult, especially since they probably don't have the luxury of a SWR meter connected to the antenna to make sure they pinned it right. Anyway, I'm going to adjust the pin while I'm transmitting now, and I'm going to watch the meter to see if it makes any difference. I'm now transmitting again. I've repinned it. Pinned it again. This time I'm trying to pin it straight and direct. Ooh, there we go. As you can see on my fourth attempt at pinning, the SWR shot up to 13.85. And the power output dropped from whatever it was at 15 or 16 watts down to 7 watts. I'm still transmitting, as indicated by the red transmit button, as well as by the power output and the SWR reading, still updating on the Farzometer 2000. So we will continue to observe the radio and the temperature through the Predator cam. The radio is still cold to the touch. The coax is warming up slightly. Power output is still at about half of what it was. SWR is still dangerously high, and the pin is still doing its job. So as you can see, even after several minutes of nonstop transmitting with the pinned coax, nothing catastrophic occurred other than a high SWR and the power output cutting roughly by 50%. This would mean less power getting out to the jackwad's antenna, probably resulting in a weaker signal, but there has been no damage to the radio as the legends foretold. And if I now remove the pin and transmit again, we can see that the SWR is back down to near perfect, and the power output is right back where we started. Although I probably would not use this piece of coax again, the radio seems just fine. However, newer radios, such as this Wuxin Ocean KG-XS20, often have built-in protections preventing any damage if the SWR goes too high, if the antenna shorts out, or if the radio gets too hot. Older CB radio equipment likely did not have such protections and could potentially result in a more catastrophic failure. However, as you also saw, it is not just as simple as simply sticking a pin into the coax. That pin had to be perfectly inserted so that it was touching both the center conductor in the middle of the coax and the inner shielding, something that, as you saw, I really had to work at to get it to actually happen. So it would seem that this legend is plausible. But It probably would not do much damage, if anything at all, using today's modern radios.